You ever have one of those moments where someone younger than you can't comprehend life without the internet, yet someone older than you still asks you to fix their Wi-Fi, and somehow you relate to both? You remember dial-up tones and instant messages. You learned to be patient while a web page slowly appeared line by line. You had a childhood that felt mostly offline, and an adulthood that didn't ask permission before going fully digital. You know what it's like to explain a floppy disk and a TikTok trend in the same conversation. To feel oddly fluent in both worlds, yet fully at home in neither. It looks like adaptability, but sometimes it feels more like quiet disorientation. What does it actually do to a person to grow up right at that divide? Because growing up as a Xennial meant living through a psychological transition most generations didn't experience so abruptly. You were raised with analog rules, delayed gratification, limited access. If someone called, the house phone rang. If you were bored, you stayed bored. Then suddenly, everything sped up. Information, comparison, expectations. Your brain developed in a slower world, and then had to recalibrate to a faster one. That creates an interesting tension. Part of you still values privacy, depth, and independence. Another part feels the subtle pressure to stay visible, responsive, updated. You learned self-reliance early, but also witnessed the rise of constant connectivity. So you might notice something strange about yourself. You're comfortable with technology, yet easily exhausted by it. You understand social media, yet feel slightly detached from the performance of it. You can move quickly, but crave slowness you can't quite recreate. This isn't nostalgia, it's cognitive contrast. Your mind remembers two operating systems for life. One where identity formed in smaller, quieter spaces, and one where identity is continuously edited, displayed, reacted to. That dual imprint can feel like an advantage. You can relate across age groups. You're digitally capable, but not digitally dependent. You remember life before the algorithm decided what mattered, but it can also feel like a subtle loneliness, like you're translating between eras, like the cultural ground keeps shifting beneath you. Too young to feel old, too old to feel entirely native to what's new. And none of this means you're behind, resistant, or out of place. It means your nervous system learned stability in one world and flexibility in another. It means your perspective was shaped by contrast, not consistency, which can feel confusing at times, but it's also deeply human, because every generation carries the psychology of the world that raised it. Yours just happened to change mid-sentence. And if you've ever felt slightly between, slightly misaligned, slightly hard to categorize, that isn't dysfunction. That's simply what it feels like to belong to a bridge.